should say.
Yeah, here we go. You record.
Okay. It's Corey Jacobs. I'm sitting here with superstar Sly Stone. Want to ask him a couple of questions. This man's written great songs such as "If You Want Me to Stay," "Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself," "Everyday People," and the list goes on. Sly, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest difference in the music from the 60s and 70s and today? For you, what's the biggest difference?
Well, what I notice now is that there are fewer instruments, like sax, drums, bass. There are just fewer instruments because of the computer. But then the main thing, this is what I almost forgot. See, in the 60s for me was Woodstock. And the Woodstock, I think about hippies. And I remember in the 70s, I started looking for people that had long hair, and they were gone. And I didn't know what a yuppie was. So I guess the main thing for people to notice is that, I don't know the difference, but I know whatever difference there is had to be as a result of a hippie in control and a yuppie in control. Does that make any sense?
A hippie in control and a yuppie in control.
Yeah, of the band, of the music. Like a hippie band before you know what to expect.
Right.
No, and all of a sudden, and this is the truth. I started looking for people with long hair, and I thought maybe they left. But everybody started cutting their hair and started getting scared, and I understand it. But then when they're in charge and they're scared, that makes a musician not have as much confidence in what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so they start saying things that are a bit more careful. They don't want to say, they don't want to say free love or whatever they got to say. They start saying things that made the yuppie cut his hair. And that's why the music sounded different, I think. I hope that makes sense.
No, it definitely totally makes sense.
Okay.
And you befriended some of the greats like Miles Davis.
My buddy.
Tell me a Miles Davis story.
Okay, I remember a friend of mine came into the apartment one night, and he wanted for Miles Davis to believe that he played the trumpet on the records. Now the person that played trumpet on the records, her name was Cynthia. Well, this guy, he just needed a little attention. And I told him, I said, don't try to fool Miles with trumpet. Don't try to tell him you played the trumpet on my songs, because Miles can tell by the shape of your lips that you have never played trumpet in your life. Or something, you can imagine. Right. So the guy came out there. I said, you try it if you want to. So he came out there and he just started telling Miles that, he made a few comments about this song was hard and this, we're talking about blueberry mayonnaise or some shit. And all of a sudden this guy was just started talking about trumpet. You could tell he was trying to get the subject about trumpet in. And Miles was saying shit like, what's up, bruh? What was that? And so eventually they started talking about trumpet, and the guy started lying. And Miles could tell in the first place that this was not real, okay? But he sat there and he didn't say anything because I was sitting there, and he thought maybe I know something that he didn't. And so the guy finally got through with his whole spill. Guy was an asshole anyway, so I'll tell you the truth. But anyway, as soon as he got through with his whole spill, when he left the room, Miles looked over at me and he said, "Who in the fuck is that?" I mean, he said, because that's Miles, man.
Right.
And that's what I told him, man. Don't try to fool Miles. You cannot fool him. You can't fool Miles. The nerve.
Not especially because who he is and who he's played.
Yeah, and they even disrespect him like that.
Right.
But Miles could tell. That's funny to me. Oh, I'll tell you one funny in that though. We were doing the cover of 17 magazine one day. The one's got all the girls on it. And I had all the girls that day. Anyway, in the apartment, and Miles came in with a 32. It's kind of shit. Yeah, a gun, and pulled it on me.
Okay.
And then now for Miles to do that, I couldn't get scared, but you always got to wonder whether Miles is tripping. But he never did trip.
What did he pull a gun on you for?
That's Miles' fun. That's what he had fun.
Okay.
That's the page he gets on. That's what Miles do for fun.
That's hilarious. or is it hilarious?
Yeah, that's what I know. Is that
Was it loaded?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But probably was.
Wow.
But he didn't have that in his heart. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
You know, he had no. You know, he probably was loaded. That's the way he played. He's pretty rough. He'd come to the window to my house about 3 or 4 in the morning and say, oh, no, Sly, where the bitches at? Where's all the bitches? I mean, that's just the way he was. You know, a beautiful cat, man. A beautiful cat. Yeah.
Now, one of your great idols is Ray Charles.
Yeah.
And tell me what it is about Ray Charles that you love so much.
Ray Charles seems to me that he had he could be in tune and in tone and could be flat when necessary and didn't give all the respect to being in key or, you know, the right note.
Right.
It would be as much emotional output for in whatever note, and he could do it simple. When the man said Georgia, no vibrato and shit,
Right.
man, you got to give it to him. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No vibrato.
Yeah, no vibrato. He
It's
said.
hard to get
Yeah.
singers to sing without vibrato. They
Yeah.
rely on that.
Yeah.
And a singer that can use the vibrato, like Ella Fitzgerald was a queen. At
Yeah, yeah.
her vibrato.
Yeah.
Billie Holiday, they knew how to use it,
Yeah.
to bring it in.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for singers,
Yeah.
and Ray Charles was definitely one of them.
Yeah, Ray Charles had vibrato all day long,
Right.
but when he didn't want it, he would just not have it.
He had.
Yeah, and when he wanted, that was the point he was trying to make on that song. Then no vibrato on that part. You know, that's just cool. I liked the way he knew what to do, and I think it just came natural to him. You know, you remember Georgia. Good God Almighty, why would he do that? I know people like Frank Sinatra would be standing around at attention, who was also a good guy, by the way, Frank
You
Sinatra.
met Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
You shook his hand.
Yeah, I shook his hand and said, "Hi, Mr. Sinatra," and he started treating me like Sly Stone. I said, "No. You are Frank Sinatra. I'm Sly Stone." You know what I mean? No, he's humble. Frank Sinatra was so humble.
I have to ask you this question.
Yeah.
What made you integrate your band in that time period? That you were the first person to one, integrate your band, second, and first person to also have multi-tiers.
Yeah.
No band was playing in that era where the drummer was up on a riser,
Yeah.
and you had the bass player and the guitar players down on the floor.
Yeah.
And the style of music. What was it that made you say, "Hey, I'm gonna be different"?
Well, I'll tell you what, in my mind, because of the riots and everything, it was always very plain what it was. You know, white riot, black riot, they fight. The girls don't like to get, they fight. The girls can't get paid as much money, they fight. So I thought, if everybody could be represented on one stage and having fun, it would psych the audience into having fun. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to argue with somebody that is not your race sitting next to you when you see your race and their race too on stage having fun. That's what I believe.
Ingenious, sir.
That's what I believe.
If you could have one wish,
Yeah.
anything in the world, anything at all, what would that be?
Let's see. Tell you what would be fun. It might help the economy now too. If all the non-voters had some place to go, and I could be there, because I know I could explain to the people in the White House what they're missing. They think people don't vote because they don't want to, because they don't care. No, people don't vote because they don't know who the fuck they're voting for. They don't know who, they don't know, man. They ain't had no, you know what I mean? People, I'm this and I'm that, I'm that. Say, yeah, right. When it's all over, Palin spent $200 million on clothes and all, you know what I mean? And then that, or not really, I'm exaggerating.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that nobody ever knows they don't know the people, so they don't vote.
Right.
I understand that. So it would be a good idea, because I know I'd take my time to do it, to round up all the non-voters, okay? Let's get all the non-voters to have meetings. And then we'd find out, because the guys that would need those votes, they would have to come to us and ask and find out, what does it take? If they call me, I'd say, man, these guys don't like the way you guys can lie to each other, and it's okay during campaign. They don't like that shit. You know what I mean? You guys got to commit yourself to what you're gonna do, and you got to do that or try to do that. No, you can't just get in there and change up. Shit, they might as well vote for anybody. You know, you gotta just keep that right. And the non-voters they gotta have a voice.
Right.
Just because you don't vote, you don't get a voice. What's up? It's been so many times I didn't vote. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I never have voted, and I ain't gonna until I understand who the fuck it is.
So in this election, you didn't.
Nope. I didn't know who Obama was either.
Mm.
No. I'm scared. I'd want it in my heart.
Right.
So I want to I bet you there are a lot of other people that don't vote because they don't know who the fuck it is. They don't know who's running. They don't know who it is, man. They don't know. You know, Hillary Clinton. I don't know. I know her husband just ran out and did something weird, and they know, and they cool. So I mean, I don't want no president like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want her to slap the shit out of him, man. That make me, you know what I mean? It make me know that the thing is real.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So your wish would be for people to be better informed, or the
non-voters
to know more about who's running, so
right.
they can actually know who they're voting for.
Right, and that,
vote.
And that would help the people that act like they know who it is.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because the non-voter would find out, because they know in the first place he ain't gonna vote unless he knows.
Right.
And then the people that just gonna vote because to keep up with the Joneses,
right,
they'd start asking the non-voter what's the real deal. Okay?
Right.
And then shit would start getting kind of fair, because the government then would have to pay attention to the people that don't vote. Not that you're not you're not a citizen, you're not a stand-up citizen, you're not a patriot, you're not this because you don't vote. No, they don't vote because they don't know you yet.
So one more question about voting, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
I can't believe I forgot the question.
That's all right, cuz.
Eddie. We'll get it.